Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well and hope you all are staying safe. This is Dimple here again, welcoming you all back to my next tutorial on Android framework components. Today, we will see Android application launch. So, you all might be wondering why I am revisiting this topic. Yes, in my previous earlier sessions, I have already covered Android application launch, like what exactly happens in background. But there, I have only given theoretical information. So, in today's session, I will be explaining the call sequences along the code flow. So, in the framework, Android framework, what are the methods which will be called, how the code flow will be followed, including that code flow I am explaining. That is the reason I'm revisiting this topic. So we all know we launch multiple apps per day, we use multiple apps per day, and Android OS will do a lots of heavy lifting behind the scenes. It will do lots of things when we try to launch a particular application. So today's session we will see all those call sequences, all the different steps which will happen in background along with the code flow and also the log snippets. So let's get started. Before moving on to the actual topic, I want to give brief introduction on what is message queue handler and looper. So every main thread will comprise of these three components. Message queue is a queue data structure where all the messages are queued, and handler has two responsibilities: to execute the message through handle message function. So handle message function is the one which will execute any message which is given from message queue. And send message responsibility is it will send the message to the message queue which will be executed at a later point of time. Now what this looper will do, so looper will pick one message at a time from the message queue and it will give it to handler, specifically handle message of the handler. So that message will be executed. So this is a message queue loop. So application launch has three steps. First one is process creation, second one is binding application, and third one is launching application. I will go through each one of this in detail. So first is process creation. When I'm launching my application for the first time, we all know our Android apps runs in its own process, right? So process has to be created for my app to run. So that process creation will happen in this particular step. Here the click event get translated. So here I'm the user clicking event. Click event is nothing but I'm trying to open any app. So this click event get translated into start activity intent and it is routed to activity manager service via binder IPC. So it will pass all this proxy layers and native layers. It will come and land in activity manager service.java. So here what Activity Manager service does, it creates a new process by invoking start process locked method. Okay, so first three methods which you are seeing here, you can ignore these for now. These methods, when they will be executed, is that after your boot complete, when the home launcher is launching up and the home launcher is coming up, that time these methods will be executed. Right now, we are concentrating only on launching of an application. So we'll not focus on this. Our important focus is start process locked method. So this start process locked methods, it will send arguments to Zygote. It will send arguments to Zygote process over socket connection. What Zygote will do, Zygote will fork itself and it will call Zygote init.main function, which then instantiates activity thread objects. And this activity thread object, after instantiating, Zygote will return the PID of newly created process. So main thing you'll remember, the control comes to start process locked function of activity manager service. Okay, now I will go through the code flow so that it will be more clear. Here in the code, at important places, I have put logs. First, I will go through the code flow. After that, I have filtered out these logs. I'll go through the logs again so that it will be more clear. Okay, so here our control comes to start process log. Here I'm just printing the process name, application info, component name, all these details regarding the app which I'm trying to launch. Then a process record object app will be created. So what is this process record? Why this is needed? Process record object is nothing but it represents a process which is running at least one Android application. And the activity manager service holds the process record object for each process. It is like a record which is holding the information about all the processes which are running different apps. So first, before creating the process, we have to create a process record. So before creating the process record, we are doing a few checks here. So what are those checks? First, we'll check if the process we are trying to create, is it running already in the background, so that we need not create the process again. Next, we will check if the process is a bad process. So what is this bad process? If the process has crashed at least once, then it is called a bad process. After these two checks, we will see if we are trying to create isolated process. So we all know isolated process is a special process that is isolated from the rest of the system and it will have no permissions of its own. So if you want your app to run in a separate process, then you can give isolated process attribute to true in the Android manifest file of your application. After these three checks, we will check if we are waiting for the app to come up. So if all these four conditions are false, then we will decide there is no process existing. So we have to go ahead and create a new process record. So this function, a new process record log, this function is the one which will return new process record. The call of this function, now new process record for our application is created. Next, we have to create new process. We are updating few CPU stats information and we are getting a package information from package manager. Package related information we will get from package manager using this check package startable. We'll basically check if there are required permissions, all those things to launch the package. And then right now mount external, I have made it, it will be null, sorry, none. Then after that, we will get GID details, group ID details from package manager. After that, we will mount our process using get external storage mount mode. Why this mounting is necessary? Because by mounting our process, we integrate that with the Android operating system so that it will be ready to use. So finally, our mounting will be done. Now entry point, as I already told, instance of activity thread will be created. So that will be the entry point for my newly created process. So first entry point will be created, that is Android app activity. After that, we will ask Zygo to start new process. Now all the setup is done. We have got all the information from package manager. Only thing is to start process. So by calling process.start function, Zygote will call this process.start function. And when this function is returned, a new process will be created. And when Zygote creates a new process, immediately we write amp proc start, this tag to the event log. Event log, we know, right? We can come to know various states of an app, process, everything. So when the process has started, amp proc start, this tag we can see in the event log, that timing. So that is written to the event log. So that's all. Our process is created now. So you all saw the logs and the code flow. So what I have done here is in activity manager service.java, whatever logs I have put, I have built this image and I have flashed this image on my mobile device so that whenever I try to launch any application, I can get all these logs which I have put. So I have collected the logs, filtered out, and I'll be showing you all now. Okay, I went through the code flow. Here I have taken an example of launching calendar application. Now we'll go through my process name I was printing is com Android calendar, and this is my application information, com Android calendar. And the component name similarly I'm printing, and this is the start time. This was the time when I invoked creation of process record. So we are inside get process record locked, and the process ID and the process name and the UID is created. So this is the UID of my process. And then I'm starting the record creation process, and this log will be printed. Process record does not exist. So when we will come to this conclusion after doing those 4 checks, so we checked if the app is in background, if it is a bad process, and we checked if we want to create isolated process. After all that turns out to be false, we come to a conclusion we have to create a new process. After that, process record will be created. And we will update CPU stats, and we'll get package related information from package manager. We'll get the group ID details from package manager. Finally, we'll do the mounting. After mounting, our entry point will be defined, that is activity thread. After that, we'll ask Zygote to start process. Once Zygote creates a new process, immediately we will write this amp proc start tag to the event log. And finally, we are done creating new process. So this was our first step. Okay, this was our first step. So I don't want to put all the data in one video and make it confusing for y'all. So in this video, I'll stop here. In my next video, we'll see step 2, what happens. So until then, take care. See you all soon in my next video.